Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bigfoot Odyssey. I am your host. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. I'm sitting in for Carrie tonight. There's no pressure at all. It's not like people were making fun of me just before we launched or anything. So, but I'm here trying to pilot the ship in Carrie's absence, and I'm absolutely honored to do so. And helping me out here, of course, is Don over here behind me, keeping heckling and keeping me absolutely on edge, which is important. And of course, the wonderful and amazing Daniela Aiello. She is here driving the controls to the Starship Bigfoot Odyssey, which is awesome. But today we got a great show lined up for you guys. We are welcoming to the show Mr. Lee McNew of Cryptids, Myths, and Mysteries I guess it's a YouTube channel.
Yep.
And Lee is somebody that I have known for quite a while, been a great friend to both Don and I, and of course to the Bigfoot Odyssey as well. But before we go any further, just keep it cool in the chat room. Make sure you guys are respectful, being nice to each other. Don't beat up anybody. Let's just have a good time. So first of all, Lee, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. And it's actually absolutely, this is the first time you and I have been able to talk face to face. So this is kind of a cool occasion for me as well. What's been going on in your world?
Well, I've been trying to retouch with my roots for a little bit. Most of my channel's been based around Sasquatch and cryptids. But before I was a Bigfooter, I was a paranormal investigator, and I'm trying to get back into my roots with that. And I've got blame for that. That trip you took and doing those EVP sessions just stoked the fire. And I'm like, man,
wow,
I want to get back out and do that again. So I'm going to put the myths and mysteries back in Cryptids, Myths and Mysteries, I think.
Oh, that's really cool. I hope I'm honored by that. I hope I'm not just wrecking your focus or anything, but it was of course a lot of fun. But that was actually my first time getting out and doing an official investigation like that. So it was really cool for me, and it's in my blood too. I get what you're talking about, but can you tell us a little bit about your history in investigating like that?
Well, I've always been kind of drawn to that.
Mm-hmm.
I had my first paranormal experience when I was like, I don't know, seven or eight.
Wow.
Yep. Me and my sister, we shared a bedroom when we were little, and we had bunk beds. I was on the top, she's on the bottom. I woke up one night, and I heard something in the hallway. Our door was always open into the hallway, and I heard something, and I went to the foot of the bed, and I peeked around. I could see into the hallway. There was a girl standing there. I thought it was my sister. And I said, Gloria, what are you doing? Why don't you get in the bed? And she leaned. I saw her lean against the wall right outside the bedroom door and just kind of looked down, looked really sad, and just disappeared.
Oof.
And that's when I heard my sister's flopping around in her bed beneath me. I'm like, what in the world? Oh man, it scared the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, that's a reality check right there. So this fascination actually came before your Bigfoot fascination, or would you say that they both kind of came at the same time, or how did that work?
Way before. Bigfoot is really recent.
Okay.
I had an encounter, and I did not know it was an encounter. Probably 13 years ago, I guess. Camping trip, and third night there. It was my last night there. I'm sitting, I'm relaxing by the fire. I'm chilling. Everything's great. And over the ridge in the holler behind me, I heard this howl or growl, scream thing. I'm like, what in the hell was that? And it made me stand up on my chair. I'm like, I've never heard anything. I spent a lot of time when I was a kid in the woods. Daddy had 80 acres for me to roam around. And I thought I knew about everything that was out there.
Yeah,
and I heard that, and I'm like, 3 times. Third time, I picked my butt up because I didn't have nothing but a little 32 pistol, snakes, and a hatchet and firewood. And I get my Jeep, and I left off of that mountain. I didn't come back the next morning. I didn't know what that was, but what it was close, and I can almost feel it. Not long after that, I got on the internet and tried to look up that horn, and the closest thing I could get to that roar that it started out with, it was a roar. It started out with a roar, to howl, to a scream, and the roar was the closest thing I could come to was a lion, an African lion.
Wow.
Just I couldn't find any matches to it, and it was just so loud. And for years, I mean, I didn't know what the hell it was. I mean, I really didn't tell anybody about it. And I got to listening just for kicks, because my niece was a believer. And I used to poke fun at it a lot. I was one of those people. I'm ashamed to say, but I was one of those people that kind of poked fun. Bigfoot, no, it's not a thing. And if it is, once again, the stereotypical person believing it's in the Pacific Northwest. Nope. I was listening to Sasquatch Chronicles, and they got to talking about it, and I heard the Ohio howl, and the howl there was the closest thing that I could. I was like, I've heard that before, and that was where the roar and the howl and the scream, that howl, that it was in there, and I said, man, that's it. I mean, are you? It's just, and a million things are running through my head. I'm like, are you kidding me? Here, it was Bigfoot, really?
Yeah.
So, and after that, it's almost became an obsession. And for a good 6 months, I guess, I listened to everything I get a hold of, read everything I get a hold of. And I'm out just piddling around, taking a walk, going to take a walk through the woods. I parked my vehicle, got out, and I heard this strange bird. It sounded almost mechanical,
Yeah.
to be honest. And
Sure.
are you kidding me? And then I started finding the sign that everybody says they leave in places. And that's where it started. And I've been on it ever since.
Wow. That's amazing, brother. And looks like we got some party crashers here going on. I'm not sure what's going on, but someone's peeking in the window.
What's up, guys?
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're good. We're good. We're yeah, look, we on last night with the sisters. Am I breaking up?
A little bit, yeah. You're breaking up.
Really? Yeah. We're on the Wi-Fi at the hotel, and it's so bad. But we're thank God for filling in while we did this episode. For coming on. Sorry I missed you, man. We're gonna have to have you back whenever I can ask you a question or two. Are you guys hearing me?
Oh yeah, I'm hearing you. We're able to make it out.
A little bit. You're freezing up a little bit. You are freezing up and breaking up.
Oh, I don't know if we lost them or what there.
This Wi-Fi here is so upsetting. Is that any better?
Yeah.
Yeah, just stay perfectly still though.
Don't move your mouth.
Now except us.
No, you're good. You're moving now, which is good.
Yeah, there's quite a delay, isn't there? You can hear that delay.
Yeah. They're actually okay now, I think.
Yeah, there's quite a delay, isn't there? I think they're watching it on YouTube. I don't know what's going on. There you go.
All right, cool.
Well, that
Sorry
was
about that. They might come back.
Sure.
So, go on, Brent.
No, go
sorry.
ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead. By all means.
Well, I was slightly distracted by Kerry coming on and off. So, you were talking about the paranormal stuff there.
Right. And then we talked about his introduction into the Bigfoot thing where he had an account. And so Lee, did right away, did you start hitting the field, or did you just do a lot of surfing and looking to see what the hell you were dealing with, or how did this progress?
Yeah, a little of both.
Okay.
To be honest, because I like being in the woods, and once I started finding the sign, like I said, I was kind of hooked. I'd go back and recheck things, and that's not too long after that's when I started my YouTube channel, and I basically just started that for personal reasons to document it. I think I didn't really figure that I'd actually get subscribers, you know, and here I am.
Here you are. So now let me ask you, when you started realizing the things that Bigfoot are alleged to do, when you started to realize the kind of things to look for, did it just suddenly occur to you, my God, I've been seeing that my whole life and now it makes sense what it is? Or was it kind of like a real reveal for you? Like, my God, they've always been around and I just never knew? Or how did that work for you?
Well, basically,
okay.
It was almost like a veil had been lifted,
right?
You know, it's like everything that I ever thought was natural was not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'd been lied to. But that's about how I felt. And like,
right?
Really?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
find
intense.
one thing here and find.
Right. I see Carrie and Linda are back. Hi, guys.
Yeah, is that any better?
It seems to be so far.
Yeah, we're not going to stay long. We're about to go out,
okay.
and we got to go out and finish filming with the sisters. Just want to say thank you guys for doing this, and we had a good time at the conference.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, got a ton of promos from a lot of researchers.
Oh, very nice.
Linda got recognized a lot.
I bet she did.
A lot more than I did. Yeah.
I told him everybody likes me more anyway.
Yeah.
I may have to jump back out. I'm not hearing anybody.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Lee. If you want to reconnect, that's cool.
Okay.
We'll try.
Yeah, I had to. I took Matt's advice and I stood on one foot, and I think that worked a little bit better. So, thank you, Matt.
I was cracking up at the comments.
How was the conference? Was it a lot of people?
Yes, it was packed.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, good filming. You guys are going to get to see it, but we're going to head out here and do an actual investigation with the sisters
Cool.
tonight. We'll film them doing their thing, and then we'll do some interviews with them tomorrow and go home, and I'll try to have it out by Friday or Saturday next week.
Oh, brilliant. That'll be exciting.
Yeah. So
I heard Linda's going to go off with the sisters, is she?
Linda's actually
I got a shirt and everything.
Brilliant.
Linda's an honorary sister. They wouldn't make me one.
Why
He
not?
get nothing free.
Not a thing that I get for free.
Can you hear us?
Okay.
Can you hear us?
I can hear
Brilliant.
you now.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
we've taken up enough of Lee's time. Lee, I'm sorry I missed you, buddy. We're gonna have you back on.
Oh, I'd love to be back, man. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Yes. Well, thank you, Don, Brent. You guys are awesome. we'll try to catch some of the portal tonight if we can.
Sweet.
Daniela.
Thank you very much, guys. We're gonna let y'all get back to the show now.
All right, you guys
Yeah.
take care.
Take care.
We've interrupted enough.
All right, you guys be safe. All right, take care.
Bye.
All right.
There we go.
Now we're back. So Lee, you started the channel. Now I've caught a few of your videos, and I gotta say, you do a good job. In one of them, you're talking about the crows, and I thought the crows thing was really interesting. And it's a phenomenon I've always often wondered about if it's possible that Bigfoot work in, with some kind of cooperation, with other animals, or at least they're aware so much of the signs of other animals' activities, they know when things are off. But the crows seem to be really giving you a hard time there for a while, and then they kind of took off in the distance. And what do you think of that whole idea?
Oh, I'm right on board with it.
Okay.
I mean, if anybody knows anything about crows and ravens, because I deal with both of them out there, they're some of the smartest animals in the world. I mean, I've seen them solve 8-stage puzzles.
Wow.
To get, I mean, just without any type of training, they'll just get in and do it. So they're very, very intelligent. And around at this time of the year is when it really gets active for them. Mid to late winter, early spring is when I've seen the most activity for them. I guess that's what I'm assuming, because it'll be really, really quiet out there. I mean, just dead silent. There won't be anything out there but me and the crows or the raven. It's weird, and you'll get a feeling out there too. After you're out there for a while, that you're not alone.
And that's something that I've found really amazing, and I don't know where it comes from, but it seems like everybody has this ability, and it's the ability to know when you're not alone, when you're being watched. And you'll hear people make references like that all the time, and I wonder, is that some kind of sixth sense that's just been kind of coded into our genetics, like when we had to look out for dinosaurs eating us or whatever else was, putting us on the menu, or you know what I mean though? Because it's like we all have had that experience of just knowing we're being watched. And many times, like if it's in a public place, somebody's glaring at you, you turn and sure enough, there's somebody just gaping at you. And it seems to be this really attuned sense, but it seems to really magnify for me when I'm out in the woods. I don't know maybe it's the quiet of the woods or whatever, but it really kind of centers all of your senses.
Yeah. And well, if you're out there long enough, you'll be able to pick up on things when something's out of place. Like the normal hustle and bustle of the forest, the birds chirping, the insects, there's just how they roll in the forest, and if all of a sudden that just goes quiet, then that's when you start looking around. Okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
And that's squirrels. I've made mention of this before. Loudest critters in the forest. They will sound like a freaking elephant rolling through there. Just a couple of raising all kinds of cane. And but you get a deer walk through there, very quiet. 10 times their size, really quiet. And everything you hear about Sasquatch and how quiet and stealthy they are, once that's on your mind and things get quiet, then you get a little edgy. It's like, okay. Ooh.
Yeah. And that silence is deafening when that happens. And I've experienced that once or twice in my life. And I don't know if it was because of a Sasquatch or whatever. I just know what it's like when it just goes dead quiet. Like even the insects figure out to shut up. And that's what baffles my mind the most. It's like, how do bugs know? They don't know anything, but they seem to just tune in on that, and boom, everything just goes quiet, and you can hear like your own pulse. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Now, that first camping trip, I made mention of that a couple of times, man. It's like everything went quiet. It's like the whole forest just went.
Yeah.
And just everything stopped. The wind stopped. The birds stopped chirping. The insects stopped buzzing. I mean, it was just quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I had a good idea of what when that happened. On top of the fact that somebody jumped a doe in a laurel thicket, and she ran right to me, and it was like, "Hey!" And she stopped. She looked at me and then took off in the other direction. I should have known then. It wasn't going to go well for me that night.
You think maybe it's a vibration that they can feel, but if every creature can feel that vibration, why can't a human maybe feel them coming through? Maybe they just hear it further down the line, and maybe they've got a call. These animals, they know that they've got they can signal to each other. I don't know. It's strange, but it does happen, doesn't it? Definitely.
It very well could possibly be. I mean, we don't know. I mean, they're more attuned with their surroundings than we are, I think. Far more.
I think part of that might be because, we've become so disconnected with nature ourselves that it takes something like that, the infrasound to wake you up, or, some kind of an experience, because God knows I to this day say I've never really had a paranormal experience, or I've never bumped into a cryptid, and I feel very unlucky about it sometimes. And some people say, well, Don, don't ask for things you want, but I think that we're so separate from nature because of our human nature that we don't notice these things. When was the last time you walked into somewhere and looked up instead of just around? It's the same kind of thing. So yeah. So what do you go ahead there?
This is a good point actually here. We can't hear it as good because we are inundated with information on every level. Yeah. We are way out of tune.
Yes, very nice.
Very good point. Yeah, exactly. We don't know how to center ourselves, but that's where these things live. Mm-hmm. Like even the animals, the insects, everything, that's their home. Like I suppose it'd be kind of similar to, if you left your home and came back and suddenly someone was, sitting at your dining room table, you're probably going to know something's not right before you actually see the dining room, just because it's your home. Maybe you'll see things moved or something. And so I imagine it's probably the same for them, except on a much grander scale. They know their home, and they know when it's different. And so, yeah, I believe that's a great observation, though. Thanks for sharing that, for sure.
And also birds as well. I mean, they've got the whole view, and they've got amazing eyesight, haven't they? I mean, they can see for miles, and who knows? What about sounds being mimicked? That's completely covering your face. Sorry, Lee. Have you ever experienced strange mimics? I could hear a jailbreak from a truck coming down the McAuliffe Turnpike. 5 minutes later, a jailbreak sound coming from a place with no road.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I'm where I do my main portion of my research and investigation. Approximately maybe 6 miles away from a major highway, and you really can't hear anything the way the valley's laid up. I've heard traffic.
Wow.
Cars. When there wasn't any. I haven't told a lot of people about this because it just sounds crazy, but when you come up with mimic, I got to lay that out there. I've heard them mimic other creatures, owls, whippoorwills, things like that. And it's hard to tell what I heard was actually the creature that it was supposed to have been, But I have heard, like I said, cars, traffic, It's like, what in the world? It was the craziest thing.
In your video, you actually made mention of the owl sound, and even your nephew, I think, was like, "What the hell was that?" Because it didn't really sound like an owl. Could you explain a little bit about that situation?
Oh no! I mean, we're sitting around the fire, and we hear a "whoo," and it was not quite. I mean, it was really loud, and my my nephew looked at me and said, "What was that?" I said, "Hey, there's some weird goings on out here." So I mean, he's young. He's raised like me. I mean, out in the woods, a hunter, and spent a lot of time out there, and he knows what it should be sounding like, and what it shouldn't be when something's out of place. That's when he turned and looked at me. You know, I tried to tell you. That's the only experience he had, but it gave him pause. You know, something that made him scratch his head. So maybe there's something to this.
Right. You know, and that comes up quite a bit with especially the owl sounds. People often describe these robotic owl sounds like they're not right. And you hear that referenced all the time. Can you hear us, Lee?
Can you guys?
I'm sorry?
Can y'all hear me okay?
I think you're freezing up a little bit.
Yeah, a little laggy, but you're okay, I think. I hear something going like that.
That's what he's looking at. Like he's looking out the window at something.
It's been going on for a while, though. Are you not hearing? Did you not hear it before?
Oh, that's my dog snoring. I'm sorry.
That's your dog snoring?
Is that your dog snoring? What kind of dog is that? That must be huge, like the size of a rhino.
It's not very big. It's just getting on a bit. Right over the other side of the room. I can't stop it. I want to throw some at him. Hang on.
Oh, that's Daniela's dog. So we lost Lee and Daniela. Don, how you doing?
Slowly taking over the world, one
Yep,
show at a
one
time.
show at a time. We've got two of them. Oh, she's back.
I've just thrown a bucket of water over him, so he's not going to go back to sleep again. I haven't. Joking.
This is a huge dog.
He's not. He's just He's just one of those little short. He's got a short nose, and it's all
He's all lungs then, huh?
Yeah.
Short nose and all lungs.
Oh,
He might have sleep apnea. I'm thinking you should get him tested for sleep apnea.
wow.
There we go.
There we go. There's Lee back. Excellent.
Yeah. I can hear you now. Everybody's breaking up pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's probably normal for us. That's the normal flow for us, Lee.
Normally, problem, but tonight it's just, of course it would happen now.
Sure, exactly when you're going to be interviewed. That's exactly when you're going to get the worst lag. Yeah.
Lee, can we talk about the Putwoodgie, the little people, all that?
Oh.
I don't know a lot about that.
Oh yeah, that's something that was very unexpected. I'm out looking for sign in one of my research areas, and I come across a mound of dirt had a couple of prints in it, and I took a picture because I really noticed the raccoon print. But when I went back and reviewed everything and looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, that's not right. And there's a little handprint. It looked like a small human handprint next to the raccoon print.
Oh.
And I sent Duke, let him actually let Brenda Harris do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
So that one on the right, there should be little claws on the end of those fingers.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? But it almost looks like there's a thumb there as well, is there?
Mm-hmm.
look.
That's really wild. Yeah.
They look really long, don't they? Just for a, say, raccoon, or what did you think it was? Sorry.
Yeah, the one on the left is a raccoon. I know that for a fact, but that one on the right, I don't know.
Do you think
Brenda Harris seems to think
that right print
a
could be
little.
the rear foot of the raccoon, perhaps?
No, it would actually be a little bit longer. They
Okay.
have a triangular shape to it on the rear.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Wow, that is amazing.
Mhm.
Well, they're all over the place too. We've had a guest on our show, Robin Moonshadow, and she has talked to us at length about the Pukwudgies, and they are allegedly a ferocious little beasts. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about them. Are they supposed to be flesh and blood?
Yeah, they're supposed to be flesh and blood. I don't know. I should let Lee talk. It's not my interview, but go ahead, Lee. Talk about that if you would, please.
No, because I'll be honest with you, I'm still learning about these. All I really know is they're probably about 3.5 feet tall max,
Mhm.
and can be rather vicious. They're pack oriented. They hunt in numbers, and they like to mess with people.
Yeah, they hate people. Is the stories? There's a lot of First Nations legends that go around about the Pukwudgies, and even back to some stories with them trying to gain the favor of people, but they kept screwing up, and there was a giant that allegedly cast them to all corners of the continent, and some of them lived, and they decided they hated people, and so they are generally 2 to 3 feet tall. These little humanoid-looking things, allegedly extraordinarily ugly by our standards. Maybe they're beautiful to each other, but we don't really think they look good. But they are often seen wearing quills of porcupines, so they got kind of like that spiky back thing going on, and they've been known to wear other animal skins and to try to blend in. But they allegedly use poison arrows. Yeah, moccasins, exactly. And they allegedly use poison arrows. So they do their killing through massive numbers and a lot of poison arrows, apparently.
That's scary.
Yeah, yeah, it is for sure. And I can't claim to know much more than that, but I think it's very interesting.
I'm out there.
What was that? I'm sorry, you broke up.
I said my head's on a swivel every time I go out there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So now, have you ever had any inkling about the dogman in your research, or have you ever found any sign or had any experiences with that in what you're doing? Can you hear
Aside
me,
from
Lee?
what you're breaking up.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Sorry.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, on and off. I mean, you're lagging as well, but I think we're okay.
Are you where you were sat yesterday, Lee?
Pardon?
Are you in the same spot as you were yesterday? Because we just had a really clear connection. Yeah, okay. Must just be something. Saturday
night traffic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I just with the cryptids, so far we've talked about Pukwudgies, of course, Sasquatch. I also wanted to touch base on those. You had made mention in one of the videos on your page about these rock structures that were made, these stacks. Can you describe those a little bit, if you're hearing us?
You broke up structures.
Rock structures, rock piles, stacks of stones.
Oh, the stones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I found one that I believe that was made by Sasquatch, because the base stone was well over 100 pounds, and it was driven into the ground probably about 2 inches, and it's sitting vertical, and then it's got small stones stacked on top of it. I meant to send that picture to you, and I didn't. Daniela, sorry about that. But there are other stone stacks out there that people have made, and that's the only time I've ever seen one like that.
No.
It's really neat.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
5 is a connection, maybe.
Oh,
Dogmen, rock structures.
Oh, I don't know anything about the dog man as much as I do a Sasquatch. I haven't had any type of run-in with them or seen any type of sign that would make me believe that they're around.
Okay. Which is good.
If that's
good.
Is that the answer you to?
Well, that's good.
Sorry.
No, I don't think you want dogmen around. Dogmen are not some they're not usually good company. It's you know what I mean? It's, you don't want to find dogmen, in my opinion. I don't claim to know a whole lot about them, but everybody that talks about dogmen is like, oh, these ferocious, horrible things. Now they don't seem to eat people, but yeah.
But we don't know, do we? We don't know the people that have been eaten.
Yeah, they wouldn't make it back.
Same as the people that are killed by Sasquatch. We don't know. They never live to tell the tale. So
yeah. Well, I'm gauging that because, of all the eyewitnesses of both, there's more. Well, I mean, there's several that seem to just see them and then are able to leave. Maybe some serious intimidation, but generally they're not always on the menu, which I think is encouraging. At least you got a roll of the dice there to work with. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I'm on the lookout for them either way, because you never know. I mean, I didn't think Sasquatch was in the area either.
Mm-hmm.
So Lee, what kind of signs have you seen? Now you mentioned that you started seeing some. Well, what have you seen? Have you seen whether it be like X's or arches or maybe even blinds or hides that they've built, or have you found any footprints? What kind of things have you seen that have convinced you?
I found footprints. I found a 16-inch print, an 18-inch print.
Wow.
I've actually found a print that it was really unique. I wish I could have been able to. If there was any one print that I wish I could have cast, it was that one. It was really unique. Mostly, as far as structures go, mostly tree bands and breaks.
Mm-hmm.
I found one X formation, but that's kind of contestable. It's one of those things. If I could have actually done it, I might. One of those things, got to kind of put it back and just let it sit for a minute, because you just don't. I just don't. Could be. But the tree bends, the arch, where you've got what was that?
Sorry, I'll let you carry on. I
What was that
shouldn't have.
question?
I'll let you carry on. Well, I'll put it up then. Does Lee think they hunt? If so, has he ever found a spot they hunt? And if so, what makes him think that?
Pretty sure they do, but I haven't found a specific area they hunt. That make me believe that there's any specific area that they do hunt at. The whole forest is their playground. I'm pretty sure it's wherever they can find it. The place is loaded with mountain laurel. Plenty of places to hide and ambush. As far as that goes, like I said, I haven't found a specific spot. No bone piles. Like that. But getting back to the tree structures, I have found the arches where it's a tree probably about 4 inches in diameter, tall one, completely over, and the top is going into the ground.
Oh, wow.
I just recently made a video about that. I've found several structures like that, and they're usually near waterways or trails for some reason. I don't know why. That's just where I'm at.
That is pretty cool.
You know, I think a lot of people don't believe in like arches and things like what you just described. You know, up here in Idaho, we had somebody call me one time and said, "Hey, I want you guys to come out and look at this." And we went out there and we found, 4, 5, 6 inch, round saplings, 20, 25 feet tall. They were pulled down and they were created an arch. And it's like this arch was, kind of crisscrossed. And they weren't broke. The thing about what I don't think people think about is if you as a human even got up on a pickup bed and tried to pull these saplings down that are that big, you're gonna break them. You're gonna, they're gonna squish. They're gonna break. But if you grab them at the top and you work them down, they won't break because you're bringing that structure down. You're bringing that whole thing down at an even more even pace instead of trying to yank it from the middle.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that don't think they do that Squatches do that. They think those are man-made, but I don't agree because they're too big for a person. You'd have to have 4 or 5 guys out there, climbing up the pole, trying to pull it down, and 99% of the time they're going to break it or pull it out of the ground or something. It's going to be unusable.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't think about that. First of all, you got to be strong. You got to have enough center of gravity, and you got to be tall.
Yeah.
I don't know what type of technique they use. It's incredible. I mean, I've heard people talk the tree structures and all that, and it's one of those things where you look at it and you can tell that it's just not natural. I mean, like you say, there would be a break. There would be some type of stress fracture somewhere in the tree.
Yeah.
In these trees, nothing. It's like they were made of rubber, right?
Right.
And they're just bent into a perfect arch. So
it is cool. And I've often wondered about those kind of things, and especially about the teepees. And this is just my own, I don't know, my own idea, but I keep trying to think, why are they bothering with that? Well, the only thing that I've come to so far, and my opinion really isn't worth that much anyway. I'm not like a real knowledgeable person, but I'm absolutely fascinated with all of this, and I think that maybe they're doing it like, how if you're ever in bear country, they have those big scratchings on the trees. And of course, the bear will mark the territory by reaching up as high as it can on this tree and scratching big ruts into the bark. And I think that's a signpost to other bears that come up and go, "Oh, that's too big. I'm out of here." And so I wonder sometimes with these tree structures that are made with these huge logs, if that isn't like a territorial marker. And it's kind of like a feat of strength. Like, this is my territory. I built this. And if you can't lift that log, you better not come in here because, that's what I can do. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's any merit to that or
Feats
not.
of strength kind of thing.
Right. But it's just like a visual marker, like, whoa, that's a really big teepee. I'm going to go over where that smaller was. Well, the smaller one was, and take a run at that title. But I just wonder if that could be what's going on. What do you think of that, Lee? Oh, I think he's lagging again.
Look, I've got a few questions. Lee, have you seen any weaving in with the branches?
actually, I have. I've actually seen a couple like that. Branches have been weaved into a tree. I've actually got a video that was one of my earlier videos. It's when I first started investigating the area. I found where one of the tree's branches were weaved into a larger tree. It's one of its smaller branches were weaved into the branches of another smaller tree. It was really strange.
That's intense. Yeah.
So another question, Lee, that the chatters asked, Matrix 7 asks, in one of your videos, you stated that you thought they may be demonic. Could you explain that?
You broke up really bad.
Have them type it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ask them to type it in capitals so Daniela can get it.
Right up there. Lee, on one of your videos, you stated that you thought they were demonic. Can you explain?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I didn't mean that the Sasquatch were demonic. I mean, there are I believe it's around us. I think I remember what episode she was talking about, and I was just referring to protecting yourself when you go out. Anyone who thinks that demonic forces limit themselves to residential areas has got another thing coming. Because I believe they're everywhere. And I believe that if you open yourself up to one thing, you can open yourself up to a lot of other things. I believe that and I started doing this while ghost hunting, protecting myself with prayer against demonic force. I don't believe that Bigfoot are demonic. I do believe that there's a supernatural element to them. That they have certain abilities that are beyond our comprehension. But aside from that, no, I don't believe they're demonic.
Okay.
Okay. Question.
This is an interesting question, and something I've often thought about and never asked is, are these structures things being done with the same kind of trees?
There are smaller hardwood trees, like small birches and oak, which blow my mind. They're not that malleable. I mean, they don't bend that easy, even when they're small. And like I said, they're take this wire for instance. I mean, they're bent like that. Root to the ground, just like that, and they're a hardwood. So I don't know.
It's interesting.
Mostly hardwood trees, though.
I'm just going through the question now. Do you think the little people are a subspecies of Sasquatch?
Actually, I think they're their own entity. According to legend, anyway, I believe that gnomes, pugwidgees, they're all their own being.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
And my knowledge of those creatures are very limited, though. So that's my 2 cents.
Has Labour found trees with vertical cuts from the top to bottom?
No, I haven't. I've actually looked for something like that, and I haven't seen anything like that. Not yet. I've still got a lot of ground to cover. A couple of facts.
Wow.
All right. Take it well.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen one running or anything running in a funny manner?
I've actually never.
Oh, he broke.
I've never actually seen one, just heard one, or several. The last time I had an encounter. There's one thing that I will mention, and another thing I meant to send you this picture too, Daniela. A buddy of mine went to me, and he asked me to come over and take a look at his property because he'd been had some strange noises going on. His dogs were going off, and the two big dogs. Not very scared of anything, but these dogs were getting scared. And I'm thinking, man, that sounds like Sasquatch activity. So I come over and we're looking around at trees. In the tree line of his property, leaving his yard, going into the woods, and just, I don't know, just a few feet, we found spots on these walnut trees where bark had been shaved down and it almost to the trunk, like with a knife. And it was almost all the way around the tree in spots. And it was several trees that had been done to. And it was just not on, I mean, we're talking going all the way up the trunk. I mean, 40 feet, you could see this. Where these whatever had shaved this bark off had done it. It was the strangest thing I ever seen. I saw where there had been some activity, so where the ground and leaves had been disturbed. But I've been trying to find answers to for a while. What caused that? That's one of the biggest mysteries that I've come across while looking for Sasquatch. That shaved bark, and it looked like it was done with a knife.
Weird. What about UFOs or lights, anything like that, or orbs even?
I have seen a UFO, and this was a long time ago. My sister and I were actually sitting in the front yard outside the house. It was right around dusk, and we've been playing just around this in the summer. And I remember we're sitting there, and we saw this light in the sky. It looked like headlights in the sky, and it was headed toward us from the. I don't remember right. It was like from the northwest, and it was a strange direction. We'd never seen that airplane come from that direction before. And the closer it got, the bigger it got, and it made absolutely no sound when it got over top of us. It's kind of football shaped, silver and huge, and almost like a zeppelin. But I mean, it was huge. I couldn't look for weather balloons or zeppelins or anything like that. Nothing like that was in the area. Looking back, going through records and whatnot, I couldn't find anything there. But it was the strangest thing I'd ever seen in the air. It had these little they had things sticking out of the sides. They were going this way and that way. Two in the front and two in the back, looked almost like legs. And I remember my sister saying it almost looked like a turtle. Like I said, it was huge and it made hardly any sound. And we were totally fixated on that. I remember that her and I both were totally fixated on that until it disappeared over the mountain behind our house. That was weird.
Wow, that's amazing. Because I think if you knew exactly when that was, you could certainly compare that to like the Goodyear blimp, any traveling it would be doing. So it would be possible to absolutely eliminate that possibility. I don't know. Yeah, can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me.
You're breaking up again. That's like I said. pretty sure it's on my end.
Oh, it's okay.
Lee, do you play any musical instruments?
Pardon?
Do you play any musical instruments? Are you creative in it anyway? Can't hear
I
me.
can't hear you. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Maybe you can type it.
Yeah, I can. Hang on. Oh, I was gone.
No, he said he's going to be right back. He was going to reconnect. Yeah.
All right. This is actually an issue when using a phone.
Yeah. It's really flaky. Yeah.
Try our best to get people to use a laptop and hardwire the internet, because they're just the phones just can't handle it. And unfortunately, he's waiting for a part. He would have done it on his laptop, but he's waiting for a webcam, and it didn't come in time. So unfortunately, this is what happens. So.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, we're getting good information either way. It's just, it affects the flow of the conversation, but I think the things he's talking about are just fantastic, and his experiences are really cool.
Sorry, go on.
No, that was it. I was done. That was all. What were you going to say? Yeah.
Me and Carl, LA Swamp, and the Weird SQS, we've been talking, and it seems like there's a lot of we feel like there's a connection to musical instruments, and possibly grief is something that is attracting all these things.
That's a good point. Yeah, now that you say that, I've heard of so many stories of people being heartbroken and out in the woods, and they'll have these real close encounters. So that does come up. You're right.
Well, we pretty much ask everyone if they've played. I mean, not everyone, but
Sure.
I try to ask it if they play a musical instrument, and then you hear maybe someone's had someone pass away, and there's quite a few. And there's Kerry, Wes, a few of the guests we've talked to, a few of the people I talked to. It's just an interesting, whether it opens up another something frequency in us or what, because grief is a crazy place to be in. Anyone who's experienced it, it's it takes you to another place. It really does. So I don't know. I was just asking if you played a musical instrument.
I do play. I play guitar.
Oh,
outstanding.
Carl's going to be jumping off his chair now. I made a bet with him. I'm not sure we said how much, but I said he would. Maybe they're empaths. That's a good.
Oh, sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Don't know what's happened to my camera.
I would say they probably are.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
All in line with their deeper understanding of their surroundings,
Mm-hmm.
the natural empathic ability to read intent, and like a defense mechanism, I would say.
I would say that all animals are, though. I mean, even dogs. Dogs
Right.
cue so much off of their owner's moods. They can just tell whether you're agitated or if you're calm. No matter what you do, they really cue off of that. So I think that's real common in animals. Not to claim that these are animals, but I don't think it's a rare talent for any of the living beings, to be honest with you. But
True.
I think that's a great observation, though.
I'll just have a look and see if we've got any more questions. If you do, please put them in caps. I thought there was one up here, but sorry. Shall I just? Someone keeps asking about your tracks. I'll show some of your tracks. You haven't took any casts though, have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay. What's this one where it's the knuckle? What you said? You call it a knuckle track.
If you ever watched an ape put their hand down on the ground, it's basically that. That would be probably where the tape measure is to that's about the middle finger,
Oh wow.
knuckle, and where the tape measure ends, right about where the green is where the palm is. Now, to the left of where the tape measure is, there are like 3 little digits in the ground, like where the fingers had dug in.
Mhm.
So the finger and thumb are right around in. It's really hard to see. I found out that photography is really tricky in trying to get it to convey to where you can actually see it.
Does it
But
translate?
that was
Does it?
yeah, that was the one I was telling you before, that if there's any one I would have cast, that is the one. I
Yeah.
would have loved to cast that track.
Mhm.
You've done another. That's it. The other, measuring it the other way. You kind of see.
Oh yeah, that's my 16-incher. Yeah. I found that right pretty much close to the same spot I found the knuckle track, and it's several months later. Where the first beginning of the tape measure is, that's from toe to heel. It's 16 inches. I got another picture where it's like 8 inches wide around the ball of the foot, where the ball of the foot was supposed to be. You could see where the toes dug in, and that mid-tarsal break where everybody assumes an arc is, where it kind of pulled the dirt up as it was leaving. It's the most, that personally, besides the knuckle track, is probably the most amazing find I've made since I've been researching and investigating. I was tickled to death when I saw that. I think I sent you a picture with my foot beside that one.
Yeah, I'm just getting that now, for you, Lee.
Okay.
Not that one. That's the same one, but not with your foot. I'll just get the one with your foot.
Right. Well, I mean, even with this one, you can tell how deep it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had not had any type of rain. I mean, the ground is a little softer right there, but not so soft. Like with the other picture that I sent you, I'm 270 pounds. I'm a big boy. And down next to it and put my weight down on the same earth, and I barely made a dent. So you can understand.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
You see that?
Well, it's interesting, something that Brent said on Wednesdays, that it kind of feels like these deeper ones are where they've maybe jumped, and kind of, rather than just standing and making an indent, you have to put a bit of pressure on to go that far down, surely. You know.
Right.
So maybe they've jumped off something to create that big dent. I don't know.
That's really good, because ahead of that, where my toe is pointing, maybe 5-10 yards, maybe is not even that, maybe 5 yards. We'll give it 5 yards. Is a little creek where it's water runoff from the mountain. Okay, and I thought about that. Maybe it jumped to clear from right there to clear the other side of the creek.
Mm.
So that's a very good observation. I've thought about that a few times.
Wow.
But like I said, I put my big old foot down right beside it, and it didn't make a dent.
Yeah.
So it was heavy.
Well, even walking, it's hard to make a dent because it's so compact. You'd have to put some force in to, just because of the weight of the foot, your body and everything. It would have to be an angle. I know in the snow they're so obvious, but you can make your own tracks in snow. But on hard ground like that, must take a bit of force to do that. Who knows?
Mhm. Very cool.
Okay, well, we're actually going over the hour. I know, Brent, you need to get ready for your own show,
Yeah.
Paranormal. Oh,
We do. We got a big one on deck. So, but it's been an absolute pleasure, Lee. Thank you for being here, and thank you, Daniela, for letting us help you pilot the ship for the night.
you've been great, absolutely great. Yeah, and Don, they're smiling and happy, and
I've had a
Lee,
guys, I thank you for having me.
next time you're on, we'll have to just do it from the laptop, and then we'll have a crystal clear.
Yes.
Get your webcam. We'll
I'll
redo
be ready.
Okay. We'll look through it.
All right. And to all of you all out there, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the show and for all the questions and participation. Obviously, you guys are the backbone of the Odyssey, and we appreciate you being here. And we appreciate you putting up with Don and I and letting us letting us drive this for the night. But thank you all for all that you do. And thank you again, Lee. It's been a pleasure to finally meet you. And thanks so much for being on the show.
Same here. Nice talking to you guys.
All right, bro.
Thanks.
And Daniela, you're amazing as always. It's always a pleasure to be near you, but we got to scoot. We got to go.
Yeah.
All
right. We'll see everyone next week. It's going to be Spook Week. We're going to have 8 nights of live spooky stuff going on. Brent and Don will be about. I'll give some more stuff away next week. So till then, good night, everyone.
Good night.
right. Good night.
Good night.